Time for the press review with Alison Sargent. Good to see you, Alison.
You too, Delano.
You're starting out with reactions to a UN report that found that the French military targeted a wedding in Mali.
That's right, Delano. This report found that the French military killed 19 civilians in this strike, as well as 3 jihadists. So was it a mistake, or was it a deliberate decision to kill terrorists while sacrificing civilians? That's the question a paper from neighboring Burkina Faso is asking today in its editorial. France has completely rejected the findings of this report, and this paper, Wakat Sarah, writes that we desperately need to quickly shed light on what really happened, on the mystery of this situation, because in the meantime, the paper says it's fuel to the fire of anti-French sentiment in the region. France's communist paper L'Humanité also writes that the consequences of this airstrike will be catastrophic for the image of the French army in the Sahel. The paper is itself extremely critical of France's operations in Mali. We can see L'Humanité's headline about this report reads, "Paris's propaganda pulverized by the UN."
Well, you're heading to Afghanistan next, with 3 women working to vaccinate children against polio were shot and killed on Tuesday.
Yeah, the Afghanistan Times today is pleading with armed groups in the country to stop targeting civil services. The Taliban, for one, has denied any involvement in this attack. Still, the Afghanistan Times notes in this editorial that in areas that the Taliban controls, the group does not allow workers to carry out door-to-door vaccinations, which is exactly what these women were doing when they were gunned down. Meanwhile, power-sharing talks between the Taliban and the Afghan government are set to continue in Turkey next month, and according to the New York Times, the elephant in the room is, quote, half-acknowledged truth that the Taliban have the upper hand and are showing little interest in compromise. The paper writes that the group's swagger is unmistakable, and much of it comes, the New York Times says, from the fact that U.S. troops have agreed to withdraw from Afghanistan by May 1st, although the paper points out that the Biden administration has yet to definitively say whether or not they're actually going to meet that deadline, which is now just weeks away.
Indeed. We're already in April, nearly. Moving on to France next, where a prominent sports commentator has been suspended from his job over allegations of sexual harassment.
That's right, Delano. I'm not sure if you've heard of him. This is Pierre Ménès. He's a star commentator for Canal+. Much of his behavior is really no secret. You can easily find videos of him forcibly kissing his female colleagues while on set in the middle of broadcasts. Now, these harassment allegations against him were supposed to be part of a recent documentary about sexism in sports journalism, but Canal+, which is also the channel where he works, decided to cut those parts out before they aired this documentary, which created a scandal, people accusing the channel of trying to protect him. As we read in France's sports paper L'Équipe, Ménès is now close to the exit. The paper reports that he himself is the one who said he needed to take a break, and the channel agreed. His future at Canal+ may be uncertain, but it's not completely over yet. As one foreign sports journalist told British paper The Independent, Pierre Ménès is ratings gold for Canal+. He is a reflection of the belligerent guy at the bar. France might not like him, but they love to watch him.
I've seen the videos. It's actually quite shocking what he was able to get away with. In other French media news, 2 iconic cartoonists will be retiring tomorrow.
That's right, Delano. This is their last day published in the papers. Regular viewers of the France 24 Press Review might recognize the work of Willem for the paper Libération. The paper devotes their entire front page to him today, thanking the cartoonist who has been drawing for Libération for 40 years. Willem responded saying the pleasure was all mine, and we can see in this front page cartoon he's drawn himself, complete with what looks like a celebratory glass of wine and a little bit of butt crack showing. The other iconic French cartoonist who is putting down his pen after today is Plantu. Le Monde publishes his last page cartoon in their edition today. He's been drawing for Le Monde for 49 years, and in an interview with the paper, he said, "How do you expect me to stop? This thing that I do is not a career, it's a life."
In Switzerland, women in the military will finally be able to wear women's underwear. What the hell were they wearing until
That's
now?
right. I know it makes you. Up until now, Delano, I was surprised to learn this. Women in the Swiss military, and indeed everyone in the Swiss military, has been forced to wear men's underwear. As the local explains, that's because all soldiers in Switzerland are provided with the same standard issue clothing, which means men's underwear for everyone, regardless of your gender. I was surprised that they get underwear with their uniforms. I would think you would get to pick that, but I guess not. In April, this is going to change. Women will be allowed to wear women's underwear with their uniform, although the local explains this is just a pilot program. I don't know what they're testing. I don't see why they need to test it. Seems like they could just change it. Anyway, there are hopes that this is going to boost the presence of women in the Swiss military because it really lags behind other European countries. Women make up just 1% of the Swiss army. That compares to 15% of the army in France and 12% of the army in Germany. This story, Delano, also reminds me of the scandal some of you might remember about NASA not having the right-sized suits for female astronauts. I have to say, if you want to create equality, a very easy place to start is to just give people the right equipment.
Indeed. Thank you very much for that, Sergeant Allison, always teaching me something I don't know here on the Press Review.